All right, let's talk about one of the very first things that can trip you up when you're learning French: articles. Words like the and They seem so simple, right? But in French, the rulebook is totally different. So we're going to dive in and make this whole thing crystal clear.
So think about it. In English, we've got one simple, trusty word, the. The house, the cars, the idea, it just works every single time. But then you look at French and, whoa, you've got four options: les, la, lel, and les. Now I know it looks a little intimidating, but I promise you there's a really simple system behind it all.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? Why have four words when one could do? And more importantly, how in the world do you know which one to pick? Well, stick with me for the next few minutes and you're going to have the answer.
Okay, first up, let's meet what are called the definite articles. This group right here is your direct equivalent for the English word the. You pull these out when you're talking about a specific known thing. You're not talking about just any village, you're talking about the village you live in. See the difference?
So, how does this system work? Well, it really just boils down to two things: gender and number. In French, every noun is either masculine or feminine. For singular masculine nouns, you're going to use le, like le village. For singular feminine nouns, you'll use la, like in la ville. And for anything that's plural, this is the best part, it gets even easier. You just use les for everything. That's the main rule right there.
But wait, what about that fourth one, the L with the apostrophe? This is actually just a super simple rule to make the language sound smoother. If a singular noun starts with a vowel sound, like océan or one of those silent H's, it actually doesn't matter if it's masculine or feminine. Both le and la get shortened to li, so you get l'océan and li. It's all about preventing that kind of clunky sound of two vowels bumping into each other. Simple as that.
Okay, so we've got the figured out. Now let's move on to the next group, the indefinite articles. These are your go-to words for a, an, or a general some. With these, we're not being specific anymore. We're talking about one thing out of many.
And you guessed it, just like before, it's all about gender and number. For a single masculine thing, you use a, as in un projet, a project. For a single feminine thing, you use une, as in une maison, a house. And when you're talking about plural, non-specific things, you use des. So des amis means some friends, not your specific friends, just, friends in general.
All right, now we get to the part that can feel a little weird for us English speakers at first, but honestly, it's a huge piece of French logic. We're talking about partitive articles. This is the special French way to talk about some of something you can't really count. Like water or bread, or even something abstract like courage.
And here's the absolute key takeaway. In English, saying I want some coffee is totally optional. You can just say I want coffee. But in French, no way. It is not optional. You have to say that you want a part of the whole thing, an unknown amount. You can't just want coffee, you have to want some of the coffee. It's a must.
So how do you even make these things? Well, it's actually like a super simple formula, almost like a recipe. You start with the word de, which means of or from. Then you just add the correct definite article that we already learned, le, la, el, or les, and then you just snap them together.
And here's what that little recipe looks like in real life. De plus le, well, they get squished together to become du. So you ask for du pain, some bread. De plus la stays separate, so you get de la viande, some meat. De plus l gives you de l'eau, some water. And de plus les becomes de, like des haricots, some beans. See? It's really just a simple combination.
Okay, you have learned the three main types of articles. You're doing great. Now for the final piece of the puzzle. And this is a seriously useful shortcut. Let's look at what happens when you make a sentence negative.
Okay, let's start with a positive sentence we've seen. Elle a des amis à Paris. She has some friends in Paris. Now I want you to keep your eye on that little word des.
Now, watch what happens when we flip it to the negative. Elle n'a pas d'amis à Paris. Bam! That des completely changes into de, or a d before a vowel. She doesn't have any friends. This trick is a total game changer.
And here it is, the golden rule. In pretty much any negative sentence, all those indefinite and partitive articles we just spent time learning, a, une, des, du,
de la. They all get simplified down to one single word, de. This makes negative sentences so much easier once you know the rule.
Whew, we have covered a lot of ground, right? From the specific the to the general a, all the way to the uncountable some. So let's wrap this all up with a really handy cheat sheet to put everything in one place.
So here it is, your final toolkit. Just remember this. Use the definite articles, la, el, and les, for specific things, your thes. Use the indefinite articles, un, une, des, for countable things, like a book or some books. And use your new secret weapon, the partitive articles, du, de la, de l'el, for some of an uncountable thing, like water or time.
So there you have it. You've got the building blocks. The real key now, of course, is just getting out there and practicing. So, to get you started, think about this. If you're at a cafe in Paris, would you ask for un croissant or deux croissants? For un eau or de l'eau? And why is it always la tour Eiffel? The answers are all right there in the rules we just covered.